everybody, this is Judy at Judi in the Kitchen. Today we're talking about blackberries and how to select the best blackberries available to you and how to store them when you get them home. First of all, most of us are going to be buying blackberries at the grocery store. Nothing wrong with that. You want to look for berries that are a really dark color, either a deep purple to almost a black color. They should not have any green or white patches on them, and they should be moderately firm. They should be plump and dry for sure, uniform in color, and not look wrinkled or dried out in any way. Check the containers out for signs of dampness from any crushed berries or water droplets that might have formed inside the container along the way. You also want to look for mold. If you see any signs of dampness, moisture, or mold or stains in the container, pick another container. That one is going to have old berries in there and they're not going to keep very long for you. You want to avoid those, okay? Most commercially packaged blackberries will have a little moisture absorber on the bottom. So if you take the package and you look at the bottom of it and you see this little square little patch kind of thing, it looks like a cushion. It's actually a moisture absorber, and that's a good thing to find in there. If you don't see a moisture absorber in there, be careful because they may have aged. They really need to be kept dry, okay? They really need to be kept dry. If you're picking your own blackberries, you want to choose ones on the bush that look plump and that feel slightly tender. They should certainly be very dark in color. And the skin of a ripe blackberry is dull and not shiny. The ones that we find in the grocery store are picked a little bit early so that they'll last through transport and so forth. So you have the option when you're picking your own to be able to pick ones that are fully ripe. So you would look for ones with a dull type of skin on them. If you see ones that are red or a light purple, leave those on the bush. They're not ripe and they will not further ripen after you pick them. Okay, so you want to make sure that you pick ones that are ready to eat right then and there. Leave the rest for later. They should also release from the bush with just a slight tug to them. Okay, so if they're hard to pull off, they're not ready to release yet. They're not ripe enough yet. So make sure they have just a little tug to them. If they're really soft, starting to leak some juices, they're overripe and they may or may not be ones that you want. It's a matter of personal choice on there. Blackberries start to ripen when the weather is consistently warm to hot. So when you're picking your own blackberries, a big note here is to not overfill your container. You don't want to stack them more than 5 inches high, and that's plenty high enough. Why? 2 reasons. One, they're tender, they're very delicate, and if you stack them higher than that, the ones on the bottom are going to tend to be crushed. And you don't want to pay good money for those and then have them all crushed and mashed up when you get them home. Another thing is, if you pick them in the heat of the day, they will be warm. And when you stack them up like that, even 5 inches high, the ones on the inside there are going to not cook, but get warm, and it's going to cause them to age a little bit because that heat is going to be trapped in there. So if you pick them in the heat of the day, you want to get them in air conditioning and chilled down as fast as possible. You do want to keep them dry. Do not run water on them unless you're ready to use them right at that point. Now, how to store your berries when you get them home. First, when you look through them, you want to remove any that are damaged, have any mold on them, or that are breaking apart and oozing juices. It's really important to keep them dry or they will get moldy in a hurry. So you want to remove those, use them right away, or throw them out, whatever is appropriate. Do not wash them before you store them. They must be stored dry, okay? So you can transfer them into an open container to put into the refrigerator, or you can transfer them into a little container like you might buy blackberries in the store with the little holes in those containers. I would put a dry, clean paper towel on the bottom of that container and then put a thin layer or a shallow layer of blackberries on top of that. Close the container, put it in an open area in the refrigerator. If you want to put it in the crisper drawer, fine, but make sure you've got that vent open or on the low humidity setting, because the refrigerator is a dry environment, but the crisper drawers can be a humid environment if you have that vent closed. That would invite your blackberries to mold, and you don't want that to happen. Now, fresh blackberries are very perishable. They really don't last very long. So they might last as little as 3 days. If you pick them fresh, they might last up to a week. It's impossible for me to say exactly how long they'll last. It just depends upon how fresh they are when you buy them. Well, I do hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions or comments below. Bye for now.